When we think about hazardous workplaces, the office doesn't spring readily to mind. Compared to the multitude of hazards that can be found in some industrial and manufacturing workplaces, an ordinary office seems fairly tame. It's true that the typical office doesn't have the number of obvious life-threatening hazards of some work environments. However, it would be foolish to think that just because you work in an office, you are immune from harm. Hazards to be found in a normal office can be responsible for a variety of workplace illnesses and injuries, some of them potentially serious. In addition to obvious hazards, such as slippery floors and tripping hazards, an office may contain less obvious safety problems, such as poor lighting or bad furniture design. There is also a range of hazards associated with office equipment, and the nature of office work can produce a number of stress-related problems and musculoskeletal injuries. It's important to identify all the hazards that are present in the office so they can be properly evaluated and, when necessary, removed or controlled to reduce risk levels. Falls are a major cause of injuries in the office. An ordinary office can contain many common fall hazards. These include tripping hazards presented by various obstacles. Open desk drawers, cords, wires and cables, loose carpet or flooring material, and incorrectly stored objects are all examples of common trip hazards that could cause falls in the office. Slips can be caused by wet or slippery surfaces or by wearing footwear inappropriate to the workplace. As you can see, it's easy for any office to be full of hazards that could cause slips, trips and falls. However, such hazards are among the easiest to eliminate or control. A big part of preventing fall accidents in the office is simply the use of good housekeeping practices. Putting items away in their proper place will reduce the possibility of trips, as will reporting and repair of damaged flooring. If you see objects left lying around, pick them up and never stack boxes or other items in walkways. Electrical cords, wires and computer cables should be secured out of the way of walking feet. Any spills should be cleaned up promptly and warning signs should be put in place anywhere that the floor is wet or slippery. When carrying, never move items that will obscure your vision. You should always wear appropriate shoes in the office, ideally ones with non-slip soles. Finally, falling from height in the office is often a result of using inappropriate items to stand on to reach high shelves, light fittings and so on. To reach high places, you should always use appropriately designed steps or a stepladder. Accidents and injuries associated with manual handling are common in most workplaces, and the office is no exception. The majority of manual handling tasks in the office will involve lifting and carrying. A typical office job won't require a lot of heavy lifting. However, even lifting relatively light loads can cause injuries to your back, neck, shoulders and limbs if you use an incorrect lifting technique. So, it is always important to follow good lifting and carrying practices. Your back is particularly vulnerable to this kind of hazard. Most back injuries result from incorrect lifting and carrying. To help avoid injury, the first step is to ask yourself some questions before you pick up any load. Is this too heavy for me to lift alone? How high do I have to lift it? How far do I have to carry it? If you think that the load is beyond your capacity, seek help for the lift. Use a mechanical lifting aid or simply don't lift it. If the load is okay to lift by yourself, then no matter what the size is, make sure you use the correct lifting technique. First, assume a balanced stance. Your feet should be about shoulder width apart. Bend your knees to get down to the load and keep your back as straight as possible. When you grip the load, don't hold it out in your fingers. Use the whole hand. Hold the load close into your body to lessen the strain. Lift by straightening your legs while keeping your back as straight as possible. Let your leg muscles do the work. They're stronger than the muscles in your back. Never twist while lifting. If you have to turn while holding a load, turn your whole body, feet first. Bending from a seated position can place a huge strain on the back. It's always best to stand first and crouch to lift, rather than try to lift from the floor while sitting. Another area of concern with regard to strain and muscular injuries is workstation ergonomics. Ergonomics is the process of adapting the workplace to the people in it by modifying the design of the job task, equipment, workstation or environment. Good ergonomics can greatly reduce the risk of injury to individuals in the workplace. Bad ergonomics can make those injuries much more likely. Since most people who work in an office spend the greater part of their time at desks and computers, seating arrangements, posture, and the position of monitors and light sources all have an effect on the health of the individual. It's important that office chairs be adjustable to cater for different sizes and body shapes. When seated, your feet should be comfortably on the floor with the upper legs parallel to the floor. The backrest should be in a position to support the curve of the back. When working on your computer, the keyboard should be level with your elbows. Computer monitors should be positioned to minimise reflection and glare to prevent visual strain. Most office fires can be grouped into 3 categories: electrical fires resulting from faulty equipment and appliances, fires involving ordinary combustible materials like paper, and fires occurring in food serving and preparation areas. These fires often involve cooking oils and fats. It's important to consider fire safety before a fire starts. All staff should participate in regular fire safety training and learn appropriate escape routes and how to operate fire alarms. Fortunately, almost all office fires start small, and most can be controlled with little damage and no injuries. The first consideration in the event of a fire should always be the safety of everyone in the immediate vicinity of the fire. After it is established that no one is in imminent danger, it is then important to raise the alarm. This can be done by using the fire alarm or informing someone in authority, such as a supervisor. A decision must then be made as to whether or not it is safe to attack the fire. Most offices are equipped with 2 types of first attack firefighting equipment: the fire hose reel and portable fire extinguishers. In most cases, the portable fire extinguisher will be the appropriate equipment to use. Everyone should know the location of the fire extinguishers in the office and how to use them. It's also important to know what kind of fire extinguisher is suitable to use on what kind of fire. For example, a water extinguisher should never be used on an electrical fire. The type of fire extinguisher and how to use it should be clearly labelled on the extinguisher itself. Familiarise yourself with these details. This way, you will be better prepared to deal with an office fire emergency if it happens. Every office is full of electrical appliances and equipment that can, in some circumstances, present hazards. Electrical hazards can lead to fires and cause serious electric shocks and burns. There are a number of circumstances in the typical office that could constitute an electrical hazard. Electrical outlets should never be overloaded. A sufficient number of outlets in the office will eliminate overloading and the need for extension cords. All equipment should be well maintained. Substandard or poorly maintained electrical equipment is a hazard. Any broken or defective item of electrical equipment should be repaired or replaced immediately. If electrical cords are cracked, frayed or broken, disconnect them immediately and have them repaired or replaced. Cords should never be pulled or dragged across nails, hooks or anything that could cut through the insulation. They should also not be placed on hot surfaces, such as heaters. Furniture placed in front of outlets should also allow for easy access. If electrical equipment needs cleaning, adjusting or maintenance, make sure it is disconnected from the power source before working on it. As well as the areas of office safety already covered, there is a range of general hazards present in offices that you should be aware of. Adequate lighting in any working environment is important in reducing hazards. Poorly lit stairways or walkways can lead to slip and trip injuries. If you can't see it, you can't avoid it. Likewise, overly bright lighting, reflections and glare can lead to visual strain and cause headaches and stress. The quality of air in the office can also have a big impact on health and safety. A poor ventilation system can lead to the build-up of pollutants in the air. It's important that the ventilation system introduces an adequate supply of fresh air into the office and that it is regularly checked and cleaned to ensure that it continues to work effectively. Office machinery, such as photocopiers, should only be operated in well-ventilated areas. Good storage practices are another factor in office safety. Unsafe stacking of items in cupboards and storerooms leads to many accidents and injuries. Everything in the office should be stored in its correct place. Boxes, reams of paper and similar objects should be stacked with care. Avoid piling items into high, unstable stacks that could fall on someone and injure them. Injuries can also be caused by cutting tools, such as knives and blades, which are often used in offices for tasks such as opening boxes. When using a knife, always cut away from your body. Tools should, of course, only ever be used for the purpose they were designed for. The office may also contain other equipment that could cause cutting injuries, like a guillotine or shredder. Any sharp-edged piece of equipment should always be used with the utmost care. Finally, another source of potential hazards in the office is chemicals. Chemicals are present in every workplace. In the office, the most obvious are the cleaning products that are used. However, there are often numerous other chemical substances present, such as glues and paints. Some of these chemicals will possess hazardous properties, such as toxicity or flammability. All chemicals in the office should be used only as recommended by the manufacturer and always stored in appropriate locations. There's no doubt that the average office contains numerous hazards, and it's not difficult to ensure that these hazards don't end up causing serious accidents and injuries. If you make the effort to identify the potential hazards, take steps to control them, and always be sure to follow safe working practices, then preventing accidents and injuries in the office should be simple.